Today I will talk about continuous random variable. It is my second lecture on random variable, and I will be having more lectures on the statistical distributions, both discrete and continuous. Let us see lecture outline today. So first I will give introduction and definition of continuous random variable. Then I'll talk about probability density function, followed by distribution function. Then I will talk about expected value and variance. Then I'll talk about joint probability density function, marginal probability density function, conditional probability density function. Then I will talk about the criteria for independence of two random variables. Then I'll talk about movement generating function. Then I will give an example of commonly used continuous probability distributions. A random variable x is continuous if and only if its support is not countable. So the first criteria is that its support is not countable. And there is a function fx, this is small f, fx, which range from 0 to infinity, which is known as probability density function of x, such that for any interval a, b, a subset of R, we have the probability that x belongs to this interval as this integral. So this is the definition of a continuous random variable. For example, a uniform random variable on interval 0 and 1 is an example of continuous variable. It can take any value in the interval 0 and 1. All subintervals of equal length are equally likely. Its support is 0 and 1 as described above, and the probability density function is described as small fx is equal to, this is an example actually, equal to 1 if x belongs to this interval and 0 otherwise. So this is an example of uniform random variable, which is a continuous variable. Then the probability that the realization of x belongs, for example, to this small interval is given by this integration or integral, which is 1 by 2. Then what is probability density function? A random variable x is continuous if and only if these two criteria are met, where in the definition, as we have seen in my previous slide, this integral, inside this integral, the integrand function fx is called probability density function. So this fx is the probability density function. A probability density functions are characterized by two fundamental properties. One is non-negativity, that is fx for all x is more than or equal to 0 for any x belonging to the support. So this integration from minus infinity to infinity of the probability density function is 1. This is the plot of probability density function. In my previous lecture, I have shown you the plot of the probability mass function, which was in the form of the columns or bars. Now this is in the form of continuous line because it is a continuous variable. Then distribution function. So let x be a random variable. The distribution function, which is also known as cumulative distribution function or CDF of x, is given by this function, which is capital Fx, and the results are from 0 to 1. So this means that this is x is less than or equal to small x, this probability. So this is the definition of distribution function. If we know the distribution function of random variable x, then we can easily compute the probability that x belongs to an interval a, b, a subset of the support. So probability that x belongs to the interval a and b is equal to b capital Fx b minus capital Fx a. That is this difference of the distribution functions. Then derivative of the distribution function of a continuous variable. So if we differentiate the distribution function, we get the probability density function. Note that if x is a continuous random variable, the probability that x takes on any specific value x in the support is equal to 0. So because this is defined by this integration, so integration from the same value is 0. So this is actually the concept of zero probability events. Although the probability is not 0, but it is actually mathematically 0. Then expected value. If x is a continuous random variable having support Rx and probability density function small fx, it is integral if and only if this is defined. So the condition which is known as absolute integrability guarantees that the expected value is well defined, because expected value is defined as this integration of the variable multiplied by the probability density function over minus infinity to infinity. The expected value of continuous random variable is computed with the following formula, as we have seen in my previous slide. Then this is an example. So if we take that this is the probability density function of a continuous random variable, and x belongs to 0 and infinity. So if we integrate it from minus infinity to infinity, since the x is defined from 0 to infinity, so it becomes 0 to infinity. And by changing the variables, t is equal to lambda multiplied by x and integration by parts, we get the result as 1 by lambda. So the expected value of the continuous variable with this probability density function is actually 1 by lambda. So the transformation theorem, let x be a random variable and there is another function g from real to real. Define a new random variable y as y is equal to gx. Then expected value of y is this. And if this integral exists, means this expected value of y is actually this, because we are taking derivative of this. So it becomes the probability density function of x. So we just multiply these two and integrate from minus infinity to infinity. Then these are other properties of the expected value. This is the linear combination. These two are examples of linear combination. The expectation of y when it is linear combination of x is this. And when it is linear combination of two variables, it is this. So other properties or other characteristics of the expected value of a constant is a constant. Then this is monotonicity. If x is always less than y, then expected value of x is always less than y. Non-negativity. If x is a non-negative random variable, then expected value is also non-negative. Then we have law of large numbers, which we have seen in my previous presentation on the discrete probability density functions. Then expected value of the product of two random variables is the product of two expected values. Then variance. So this is the definition of variance. This is the expectation of the difference of the realizations of a variable and the expected value of the variable, and this difference is squared. So this becomes the next one. Then we have the definition of standard deviation as square root of variance. Then these are the properties of variance. Addition of a constant, there is no change in variance. Multiplication by a constant, of course, we multiply by this term. Then we have linear combinations of variables. We have this variance, and variance of a constant is 0. This is again example of linear combinations. So these are the properties of variance. So let us take an example. If support is from 0 to 1 and the probability density function is 3x square when x belongs to the support. So the expectation is given by this integration from minus infinity to infinity, that is from 0 to 1, because it is defined, the support is from 0 to 1. So it becomes 3 by 4. So expected value of this variable with this probability density function is 3 by 4. And the expected value of the square of the variable is 3 by 5. So the variance becomes 3 by 80. Then joint probability density function. A joint probability density function is a function used to characterize the probability distribution of several continuous random variables which together form a continuous random vector. So it is in the terms of vector. So this is actually this I have taken from this side. This is the difference between probability density function and joint probability density function. This is a function of single variable. This is a function of two or more variables. This is used to compute the probability that x belongs to this interval. This is used to compute the probability that x1, the first component, belongs to this interval, and the second component belongs to this interval, and third component, and so on, depending on the number of components. Then single integral is used to carry out calculations, and multiple integral is used to carry out the calculations in case of joint probability density function. So let x be a continuous random vector formed by random variables x1 to xk. So there are k components. The joint probability density function of x is a function fx, the result of which is from 0 to infinity, and it is defined as this multiple integration and for any choice of intervals for each of the components. This is an example of a vector with two components, x1, x2. The probability density function is 1 if x1 belongs to this and x2 belongs to this interval. So let us see. So the probability that x1 is less than or equal to 1 by 2 and x2 is less than or equal to 1 by 2 is the probability that x1 belong to this and x2 belong to this. So by integration, by double integration, 1 by 1, we get that, and the probability is 1 by 4. Then marginal probability density function. Consider a continuous random vector whose entries are continuous random variables. So this is with regard to vector. So each entry of the random vector has a univariate distribution described by probability density function, which is called as marginal probability density function. So this is in context of the single component of a vector. So let us see. The marginal probability density function of xi, that is the ith component, is obtained by joint PDF as follows, where we integrate, this is multiple integration except for the xi, because here we have dxi plus 1 and dxi minus 1 till dx1. That is to compute the marginal PDF of xi, we integrate the joint PDF with respect to all variables except xi. So this is an example. So this is a probability density function of a vector with two components x1 and x2, where x1 support is in this interval and x2 support is in this interval. So let us see. So the marginal probability density function of first component is calculated like this. So we calculate is with the integration and we get 2 by 3 x1. So this is in the forms of x1 because x1 is left, because we have integrated only with respect to other components except for x1. The other component here was dx2. So we integrated only by with the dx2 component. So the marginal probability density function of x1 or first component of the vector is defined as this when x1 belongs to this interval. Then conditional probability density function. The probability distribution of a continuous random variable can be characterized by its probability density function. When the probability distribution of random variable is updated by taking into account some information that give rise to a conditional probability distribution, then such a distribution can be characterized by conditional probability density function. So this is actually updation depending on the availability of information. So let us see. So if x and y are two continuous random variables, the condition probability density function of x, given that y is actually small y. So this is actually the available information here. And we need to update the probability density function of x, which is known as conditional probability density function. And it is written as probability density function of x given that y is equal to small y. And this is the definition. So this is for particular interval a, b. So let us see with an example. First, we compute the marginal probability density function of y by integrating the joint density function. So first we calculate the marginal probability density of y by integrating with respect to the x variable here. Then we compute the conditional probability density function as this is the conditional probability density function of x given that capital Y small y is equal to the joint probability density function divided by the marginal probability density function of y. So let us see an example. So if this is actually the joint probability density function of the vector with two components x and y, and x have this support and y has this support. So we calculate the marginal probability density function of y with integrating with respect to the other component other than y, that is dx. So we get 1 by 2. So this is the marginal probability density function of y. So now the probability density function that y is equal to small y is this, which is equal to this, because we divide this function by this function 1 by 2. So 1 by 2 cancels 1 by 2. So we are left with this function. So this is the conditional probability density function of x. Then independent random variables. So what are the criteria? Two random variables x and y are independent if and only if the joint distribution function is equal to multiplication of the distribution function of two variables, where the capital Fxy is the joint distribution function and capital Fx and capital Fy are their marginal distribution functions. So if this is the distribution function of x and this is the distribution function of y, the joint distribution function of x and y, these are given actually. Then if we multiply the marginal distribution functions of two variables, we get the expression which is equal to the joint distribution function. Hence, the two random variables are independent by definition. So this is actually the other example. Here we have, this is the joint probability density function. This is the marginal probability density function of the variable x, and this is the marginal probability density function of variable y. Here we see that the multiplication of the marginal probability density function of x and y is equal to the joint probability density function of x and y. So it means that these two variables are independent. Then moment generating function. The moment generating function had great practical relevance because it can be used to easily derive moments. Its derivatives at 0 are equal to the moments of the random variable. A probability distribution is uniquely determined by its moment generating function. So let x be a random variable if the expected value of this expression, that is exponent of t multiplied by x, if this expected value exists and is finite for all real numbers t belonging to closed interval, which is a subset of R, where h is more than 0, then we say that x possesses a moment generating function defined as this. So moment generating function is nothing but the expected value of this expression. Then if a random variable x possesses a moment generating function this, then nth moment of x denoted by this exists and is finite for all n belonging to the natural numbers. So the moment, the nth moment is defined as this, where we calculate the nth derivative of the moment generating function and we set t is equal to 0. For example, let x is a continuous random variable having an exponential distribution This is the probability density function of the exponentially distributed continuous random variable. So this is the expected value of this expression, and this becomes lambda by lambda minus t, and the moment generating function hence is lambda divided by lambda minus t, and the first derivative of this moment generating function is this. So when setting t is equal to 0, we get 1 by lambda. So this is actually the mean of the distribution. Then continuous probability distributions, I will describe only very few. There are many continuous probability distributions. The commonly used in engineering are uniform distribution, where support is all the real numbers in the interval 0 and 1. Then normal distributions, normal statistical distribution. The support is the whole set of real numbers. Then we have chi-square distribution. The support is the set of all non-negative real numbers. These are just few examples. You can see my next lecture on continuous probability distributions, where I will describe most of the continuous statistical distributions. So this is all for today. Thank you very much.